Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Let me pull up my computer. Alright, I guess this can work a little bit. Let me move this up a little bit. Alright. Drink a little bit, smoke a little bit. Greetings. Greetings. Hey. Y'all I gotta get back on schedule with y'all, and let me tell you, I promise to get back on schedule with y'all when my life gets back on schedule with me. From the beautiful state of Peaches. All right. This is from the beautiful state of the Palmetto. Okay. Oh yeah. So much better. So much better. I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna try to log in. So let's kind of give some updates here on what's going on and how it's going. Hoping everything is well with everybody. Can I? What I want to do? Don't want to move this up. Don't want to move this down. I don't know what I want to do. Let's do like that. Something like that. Anyway, that's what I was just about to say. Is it pronounced New Age or NeWage? It's pronounced NeWage, but people pronounce it. I've been called everything. I have been called everything. You know, when I used to work at the call center, one of our supervisors used to call me, what did she used to call? Cosmo. Cosmo. I have been called Cosmo, caustic, cosmetic. You know, he's like, okay. You know, and it ain't what they call you what you answer to. So let's check up on the wash situation, and I'll let you guys know how that's going, and then we'll go into talking about what we're gonna talk about tonight. Let me first see if we even have any seats available for y'all to sign up, because if not, you know, I ain't gonna do you no good. So, oh, Faith. Now, Faith. Let me stop. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. When are you gonna do it? Now, Faith? Okay. All right. Now, Faith. She said that just because you said I'm gonna do it later. How about that? Later, Faith. How about that? Here we go. Come on, Zoom. Webinars. All right. Wash 2019. Record the webinar. Okay. All right, so we got what? Yeah, that's what I thought. We got 8 spots available. So you still got time. Not the heathens. You still got time. We got 8 seats available. Let me, y'all want the registration link? Okay. We will put that in here. All right. So, that's interesting. So, okay. So that's going on. Other thing is the website is soon to be launched within the next few weeks or so. Probably like within the next, before the end of the month, before the end of March, the webinars, not the webinars, but the website will be up. I'm posting some blog articles in there so that when it goes live, you'll have something to read and edify you. We've got a couple of things in there already. Let me know what you want to know more about in a blog or an article format, and we'll definitely, put that in the queue to get out to you. Nonetheless, let's talk about what's going on. I tried booking an appointment, but I am not getting you. Who are you getting? You can message me or book an appointment through YouTube, through if you find me on Facebook, whatever. My links are normally everywhere, but I will put that in the chat if that's beneficial to you. Some of you were able to see some of the stuff I'm working on, preparing for the webinar. Let me brighten this up so I can. There we go. I feel better because I can see. Working on some soaps. So we got Kananga water soap. We've got Florida water liquid soap. We've already done sandalwood bath salts. Because I'm preparing my class, my students, for the webinar that's up and coming next Friday, as a matter of fact, next Friday. So tomorrow, I and Dr. K are going to trying to get an update. Okay, then I would recommend that you contact me in the same way that you contacted me the last time I responded back. So whatever format that was, normally that's through Visita, the online portal. That's what I recommend that you message me at. I'm going to go back in and see if I see anything that I've overlooked, but I don't see anything as it stands right now. Yeah, that's what I would say. Do that. What happens if I'm 15 minutes late into the webinar? If you're 15 minutes late to the webinar, you're fine. But I say if you're going to be 30 minutes late to this webinar, don't come. If you're going to be an hour late, don't come. It's not going to. That's my recommendation. If you still want to come, by all means come. But I'm saying that if you're already going to miss 30 minutes going in, you don't want to miss any of it. Okay? If you're 15 minutes late, 10 minutes late, you're just getting off of work, you're going to the house, whatever the case may be, it's fine. Even if you are en route home to log in on your computer, the beautiful thing about Zoom is that you can still log in on your phone, right? While you are, in transit and listening in, so you won't miss anything, okay? The reason why I brought that point up was because of this. Individuals have in the past tried to get the recording for the price of the live ticket, and I refuse that form of subtlety. No, if you want the live ticket, then be there live. I've mentioned this before on Facebook and my other platforms. The logic behind that: if you buy a ticket to any live event, all right, being there is your responsibility. If you go to a concert, if you go to a sports game, all right, a basketball game, if you get there 30 minutes late, you get there 30 minutes late. If you get there an hour late, you get there an hour late. If you get there, everybody's gone. I mean, you still pay your ticket. There's no go to the Ticketmaster and get a refund back. There's no prorated refund, what I'm trying to say. So, just to, address that, that's why I made that post. That's why I made those recommendations. It is eventually going to be up in a recorded archive. So if you can't get in there live, you just wait for the archive to come out. Now it's going to be a wait, all right, and I can't say how long that wait may be. All right, it may be a week, it may be a month, maybe longer. I can't say that. The benefit of being in there live is that you get to ask your question. Now, it's possible that when you get the recording, somebody else may have asked your question, but then again, it's possible that they won't ask your question because they don't have your experience or your expertise or your background or your thinking process. So they may not ask the question that you would ask. So that's one of the drawbacks of not being there live, right? So yeah. And then also, what has happened before with other guests is they will release a special offer for a product or a service that's only available to people who are there live. So I can't say it's going to happen. I haven't gotten any advance notice on that. It's quite possible. Like I said, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow, get some things finalized for the webinar next week. But so yeah, so you never know what you're missing out on. So just wanted to put that out there. All right. If you are trying to contact me, all right, for whatever reason, all you got to do is click on this link. If somebody said they were trying to contact me and they couldn't, just click on that link and bam, you got it. All right. Wonderful. All right. So from last week, okay, I think it was YouTube. I don't know, do YouTube, I do Facebook. Yeah, I think it was YouTube. Oh. Let me know what the update is. We talked about Dragon's Blood. We talked about, we did that in a great deal. We talked about lodestones in a great deal. We talked a little bit about mojos and tobies. So let me know if that benefited you from last week, if you've been able to put that into practice, all right, or what you've done with that information. Let's see. Hey, greetings, Ladybug. Greetings, Lydia. Hey, Ann. Good man. Wow. Good to see you. Kimberly. Good to see you. Nessa. Hey, how you doing? Cookie. Yes, I'm doing a whole lot better. Thank you so much. Hey, Dan. As always. My Infinity 123. What's going on? Okay. Try Facebook Gumroad. Nothing. Trying to get an update. Hey Queenie, I don't know if you. I know there's someone who's asking about the curse webinar. But I believe I already got that settled. I already emailed you back about that with the updated link for that. So that shouldn't be problematic. That should be good. Okay. So yeah, let me also bring this up. So got asked about the astrological diagnostic. And I do this from time to time. A lot of people don't know that I am a fan of astrology. I'm a fan of medieval, Renaissance, classical, and traditional astrology, not the modern New Age stuff that you see a lot propagated. So it's a little bit different, has a different worldview, a different paradigm, but it's found to be extremely accurate and precise. So to ask about the astrological diagnostic that's on one of the services that I offer, what that is, and how that differs from the other types of consultations. So to put very plainly, I have a number of methods for divination or to consult with, right? Obviously, I was born a seer and a prophet, so therefore I do divine by the Spirit. Secondly, I also divine by the tarot, right? The tarot cards. I also divine by geomancy, all right? And I also divine by astrology as a system. Your excellent astrological services, which are well worth the investment. Thank you. So in order to get that, though, I'm going to need your place of birth, your date of birth, and your time of birth, all right? If you don't have those three, then that option is probably not going to be the best for it, all right? Now, could I do a chart without your time of birth, something like that? I could, yes, I could. But the reason why I put that there is because of the level of acute accuracy that offering produces. And so the more accurate the information, the more accurate the outcome. So there's no need in offering an accurate system of consultation if I'm not going to utilize it in that way. If I'm still going to go roundabout or general or abstract or nebulous in my approach. And that's what happens when you don't have the time of birth. One of the reasons for this is because the time of birth will change the ascendant in the chart. And that's very critical because one of the first parts of the diagnostic I go into is health, wellness, diet, and nutrition, and your physiology. And so to understand all of those qualities, you have to know the ascendant, because the ascendant represents and it rules and it dictates the body, the physiology, and the body type. So if, for example, there are any chronic issues that you need to be aware of, that you are predisposed to because of your astrological makeup, then I'm going to be able to look at your ascendant and find that out. All right. So thus, if your ascendant is off, okay, then my reading is not going to be accurate. Okay, it's not going to be accurate. And if it's not going to be accurate, why get that, right? Why get that? So that's what I want to say about that. There we go. Yeah. So when you go into that as an offering, okay, and you go into getting that as a service from me, be aware of that. All right. So if you ordered it and then 4 days later get a refund, probably why? Because you didn't submit. I may have asked you, the date, the time, or whatever. You didn't get that. Now, there are a couple of things that come along with that. Once you pick up that service, you will get within about a week or so. Normally, if you order it today, then it will schedule for next week, because I'm going to need time to research. I'm going to need time to, write up my notes. I'm going to need time to really dissect your chart. So normally it's about a week out, all right? After that period, there are three things that happen. One, you get a roughly anywhere between 10 to 15 page report, okay? An astrological report in writing, so you can go back and review it, print it out, have it, so you can go back and archive some things, all right? And in there also notate some special points as well. Number two, all right, we will do a live consultation where I go over your chart with you, all right? So you also get that offering. Number three, that session will be recorded, all right? My other sessions are not recorded, all right? They're not recorded for client use. This session is recorded, and I will send you the link where you can download or you can view and rewatch that, or re-listen to that consultation, so that if you had any questions, or something was not clear, or you can find your pin in time, you will have it for perpetuity. All right. So all of those things go into that package deal for your astrological diagnostic. I often tell this to people. If you're considering being a long-term client of mine, then I recommend that your first bet is to get a diagnostic done. Just like when you go to your doctor. If you go to a new doctor, what's he going to do? He's going to run scans. He's going to run blood tests. He's going to run your blood pressure. He's going to ask you about your family history. He's going to look at your genetic, your genome, all of those things. He wants a diagnostic run so that before he or she prescribes anything, a treatment, a medication, whatever, all right, that is not going to conflict, is not going to do more harm than good, because they already know your makeup. All right. So let me give you an example of how this works in real life. All right. What was it? Okay, yeah. So I had a client. This was a while ago, some years ago, and she came to me, and she thought she was cursed. She was just having, a run of bad luck. It just was not going well for her at all. At all. And it was like her life was just crumbling around her. She was losing her job. Her relationships were breaking down. It was just bad. And she was like, "Doc, who's throwing at me? I know somebody's throwing at me. This is just not normal." And so she had not gotten a diagnostic, but we did a reading. And so even before I went to consult with the spirit, I do a little bit of an intake. How long have you been experiencing this? When did it start? That kind of a thing. And I paused and I said, "No offense." I said, "But how old are you?" She said, 29. So I went into the spirit, and it was confirmed that it was not witchcraft that was afflicting her, but yet she had this consistent misfortune. Well, what was it? All right. So I said, "Okay, you're about 29, 30. I said, "That's your Saturn return." I said, "You're not crossed, you're star-crossed." All right. It's not somebody, doing sorcery. It's the stars. It's the stars. This is what you need to do to stabilize and get yourself situated so that you can begin to progress and move forward. So I say that to say this, that going forward, I tell my clients, go ahead and pick up one of those. So we already have a fine. We already have a docket of information if you want to go do some kind of work later. So just dropping that out. That somebody asked me about if I could explain that. So yes, I will. Somebody also asked me to explain. I told them that I would. Somebody asked me to explain. Okay. Somebody asked me to explain. Jane specifically asked me to explain. Can you please go more into how to use a coconut for working on someone's mind? Do I drill holes and fill it with herbs? I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to talk to it and stuff it and stuff, but is it best to work this while the person is asleep? I have so many questions. So, great question. All right. She wants to know about how to use a coconut to work somebody's mind. So, first of all, according to the law of correspondence and the doctrine of signatures, right, when you look at a coconut, it looks like a bowling ball, right, to be, and thus it looks like a face, right? It has those very simple facial features, but you have two eyes and a mouth, okay? Also, we know that from some African traditions specifically, that the coconut represents or speaks to the ori, or the mind, the head, the higher self, the good destiny, right? The center of consciousness or awareness, right? So a lot of works are done throughout the African diaspora and the Africa traditions with the coconut. In the same way, you can use a coconut to work somebody's mind, or as we say, to turn a person's head in one direction or another, right? This is a form of mastery work, to command, compel, control, seduce, influence, dominate, etc. All those different systems or different, devices of mastery, spiritual technology. So how do we go about it? And again, there are a number of ways of doing this one trick, but I'll give you one very simple. You're going to take the coconut, you're going to drill your holes into it, put your holes into the openings there, drain out the coconut water, and yes, you are going to begin to pack it with your herbs and your curios that relate to control, like for example, high john, orris root, clove, licorice, calamus, which is also known as sweet flag. You can add a little bit of cinnamon in there. And then it kind of depends on what end do you want to work their mind, right? There are works for confusion. There are works to sweeten, right? One of the key components of that is putting into the coconut your command, putting into it we call it your petition paper, right? Or your written decree into their mind. Oftentimes, just every day, writing out your petition and stuffing it in there daily, roughly around the same time every day. They keep reiterating and they keep reinforcing. The idea is to put so many of that one command in the coconut that you can't put any more in there. Literally, their mind becomes now filled with that, right? The idea is that though that paper now represents the thoughts that you are now feeding into that person's mind. Okay, you can amplify that working by sitting a glass of water between you and the coconut. If you have the coconut situated so that your eyes are level to its eyes, if we want to go there. Girl, I was just thinking about you. My God, I was thinking about you at least for the past week or so. Yeah, definitely call me. I'm thinking about you very heavily. Um, with the coconut. So if you want to go a confusion route using inflammatory confusion type products or whatever, or formulas, poppy seeds and a little bit of tobacco in there if you like. I would also, if you know what that person's vice is, what their hook in their jaw is. Maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's nicotine, maybe it's cannabis, whatever the case may be. Then adding that into the mouth portion, right? Or in some way incorporating that as you roll up, or uh, um, fold that into your petition and feed it into their mouth, right? So that they now become addicted. They now become hooked to your words, right? They almost begin to be drawn away, feeding after your objective you now impressed upon them. But I would, okay. That's Spirit said don't give that one out. All right. Okay. So see, I make sure I get licensure before I share anything online. I don't just start dropping stuff, but because I become responsible for that. What they're gonna so make sure that the thing is level with your eyes, and put a glass of water or a jar of water or a goblet. I like using one of those brandy goblets, and fill that with water. All right, and look into those eye holes of the coconut through that glass of water, right? That glass of water there's so many works you can do with just a glass of water, and mastery or transmitting thought is one of them, because water is a universal medium, it's a universal solvent, all right? And so there are waters in the cranium, in the brain. You are about 70% water. Water is a intuitive element. It is a psychic element. So therefore, it is more receptive and sensitive to psychic impressions that you want to send through the water. Also, if you are familiar with scuba diving, if you're a scuba dive, you know that sound is carried through water. In other words, vibration is carried, is amplified through the medium of water. And so therefore, your psychic impressions can be amplified through water as a medium. Um, Especially if you sit, let's say, in a darker room, um, with a candle, again, between, um, you know, your work, your coconut candle, and then a glass of water, and then you. All right. So it's almost going to form this type of hypnotic state, right? The flickering of the flame, the change in luminescence, and all those kinds of things are going to work to affect your target. Okay. You can even go so far, and I'll end on this one, spirit, so don't go any more into that. You can even take that coconut and tie it to a cord, so it hangs like a plumb line, and begin to rock it back and forth like as a type of Toby. All right, as a type of Toby, um, like a hypnotist pendulum, right? And in doing, you're going to kind of rock them to sleep, or rock them into a state of auto suggestion where you can then enforce your command. So those are some ways that you want. If you want to use that coconut for more destructive purposes for the mind, definitely check out my curse webinar. I go into great detail about using a coconut for destructive work with the mind, how to literally unhinge a person's mind. Um, there are ways you can make a person go crazy, make them insane. You can make them an insomniac. There are a lot of work you can do to affect a person's mind through the coconut, but I go into those details in the curse webinar. So I recommend you, if you're interested in that kind of thing, head working with coconut, then check out that that resource. And actually, I'll pull that up for you. All right. What other question do we have here? What are they gonna say? Oh. Yeah, yeah, Jen. We just answered your question. Um, so definitely go back and watch this replay. And for those who, I keep forgetting to say this, those who are watching the replay, definitely leave your comments below about what I said or what you heard that really edified you. That's what I want you guys to start putting in the comments. Something, quote me, hashtag me, whatever. But I will put the curse webinar um, link in the chat as well. Curses 101 is what it's called. Curses 101. There we go. All right. So that should be the curses webinar. All right. Yes. So yes, water carries a great ripple effect. Yes, and we're gonna go more into the elemental kingdom of water in the wash webinar. Literally, it's the basis of our webinar. All right. So, what's the Hoodoo perspective of Moses? So, again, I'll say this: I'm not here to speak for all of Hoodoo. I'm not the apostle of Hoodoo. Um, but I can give you my perspective of Moses in the same way that Zora Neale Hurston gave her perspective about Moses. Um, I think it's summed up, I want to say, in what Acts chapter 7, verse 22. Um, let me fact check that. Yeah, I think it's summed up in Acts 7:22. This is very plainly that Moses was learned in all the wisdom of Egypt. You know, in the discussion, he was learned in all the wisdom of Egypt. I mentioned this before on how he went through multiple mystery schools to attain his level of skill. Okay, for example, we know that he learned both folk magic, or what would be called low magic, or thaumaturgy is the proper uh, term for it. He learned that from his father-in-law, Jethro, all right, in Midian, all right. Now remember, um, Jehovah, as it were, was the God of the Hebrews, and they were in Goshen. So here we have, he meets, of course, Zipporah and his soon-to-be wife, and then later on his father-in-law, Jethro. But Jethro is a priest, and that's fascinating because remember, the first Hebraic priest was Aaron. So here Moses encounters, he marries into another spiritual culture. His father-in-law is a priest, and these are nomadic people. These are people of the land, people of the mountains. These are he learns an ethno-magical system. Is anybody else getting an error code for the link that I put in here for the Curses webinar? Is anybody else getting that? Getting a 404 error code? Let me know. So on one level, he learns from that low magic or a type of hoodoo, if you will, or folk magical practice, right? An ethno magical practice, a magic of the people, ethos of the people. He learns from Jethro, right, on the backside of the wilderness, and then we go into he also has already learned up until this point what we call quote unquote ceremonial magic or high magic, or the proper term for that would be theurgy from Egypt, right? So he leaves Egypt, goes, then he learns you know, folk magic. So he has these two systems to pull from. So when he comes back to Egypt, what do we find? We find that the first three miracles are met by the Magi, right? One of them, we know there were three. Well, we don't know there were three. We know that there were Magi. There were wise men, all right? Three of them we know by name. There was Janus, there was Jambres, and there was Job, all right? A lot of people don't know that Job, the biblical Job, was one of the magicians of Pharaoh's court. Now, you won't know that having just a simple Christian model, but if you look at the Talmud, you look at the Midrash, you look at the Jewish and the Hebrew interpretation of Job, it was that he was a magi in Egypt. That's why it opens up saying he was the richest man of all the East. Well, now we know why. He was a court magician. So these three and others opposed Moses when he came back. But here was the caveat. Everything that they did, he could do. Everything that he could do, they could do. What does that mean to us? It's very, very simple. It means they both know how to do the same thing because they both learned from the same place, right? Clearly says Acts 7:22. He was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, right? He learned from the Kemetic mystery schools. All right. I know your trick, like you know my trick. We both learned from the same place. Okay. So, and if you notice that the first three times it happens, it is actually not Moses doing the work. You know, right? Read your scriptures. It is Aaron, all right, who Moses taught magic to doing it. All right. All right. The first three encounters were done by Aaron using Moses' rod. After the third one, that tit for tat, Moses now steps up and shuts down the whole show. All right. And they begin to say, whoa, we can't copy this. What this guy does, he does by the finger of God. In other words, this is not thaumaturgy. This is theurgy. This is God magic. These are wonders that he's working. So then you go into how Moses is a type and shadow of the sign of Aries, and how his brother Aaron is a type and shadow of the sign of Taurus. Then we go into how so that's already two sciences right there. We've got magic, all right, the three ancient science: magic, astrology, and alchemy. So we've already got magic covered that he's learned. Now we've got astrology covered that he's learned. All right. And then we also have the third science, which is alchemy, and we find that when a number of ways, but one of them being if you read carefully, when he comes off the mountain with the tablets that God wrote on, and he breaks the golden calf, all right, he burns the golden calf, all right, he smelters it, but then the ashes he then mixes uh, he then mixes with water and then feeds that to the people. All right. What is that? That is a prototype or an archetype or a we can go with prototype of what we now call colloidal gold. Colloidal gold, which we know has health benefits. All right. And he mixes that. He does alchemy. Takes gold, he burns it. First of all, how do you burn gold? How you burn it to an ash? You see, those are all alchemical winks in your direction, right? Gold is a pure metal. It doesn't burn into ash, right? But he turns it to ash, mixes it with water, and then tells them to drink it all right? So, anyway, I digress from that. Question is, how do the first three wise men in the Old Testament correlate to the three wise men and the Christ child? Great question. Poor premise. The premise is that there were three. There were not. All right. We cannot biblically substantiate that there were three wise men. And remember, I said that we know three of the wise men by name, right? Janus, Jambres, and Job. They are mentioned by name in the scriptures. Not that there were only three. All right. Now, in the New Testament, it is assumed there are three because they brought three gifts: myrrh, frankincense, and gold. But biblically, it does not say how many came. All right. It could have been two. All right. That would be the necessary plurality. Or it could have been 100. All right. We don't know how many came. We know that however many did come, they brought three gifts. They brought myrrh. They represented him as a prophet. They brought frankincense, representing him as priest. And they brought gold, representing him as king. All right. That brings up another question. Y'all just full of it today, huh? I don't know. How come Aaron, the high priest and brother of Prophet Moses, wasn't well known or venerated greatly in Hoodoo? Again, I cannot speak as the apostle of Hoodoo. Okay. I can give my thoughts on that. Well, first of all, there's a number of reasons. Just following the biblical narrative, even though Aaron is the high priest, according to what we learn from Abraham in, I want to say, Genesis chapter 18, and what we learn from Paul in Hebrews chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8, it's quite possible. Yeah, it's quite possible. I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with this? What was your question? All right, yeah. My question being this: that Moses still outranked Aaron. All right, and Abraham sets the premise for this. Okay, because I think it's chapter 18 where Abraham meets Melchizedek, and Paul says that the one who is greater blesses the one who is lesser. And thus, because Melchizedek blessed Abraham, it showed that even though Abraham was a great man and well to be venerated, he still was subordinate in power, authority, spiritual rank, etc. to Melchizedek, because he had the power to bless him. So, fast forwarding 3 generations with Aaron. Aaron was ordained, consecrated, a priest by his younger brother, Moses. All right. So Moses still outranked Aaron because he installed him, right? He ordained him. He consecrated him as priest, all right? And also because I said before, when Aaron went to go work miracles, they could be matched by men. When Moses did miracles, no man can match him. So he outranks in that regard. All right. Also, because we don't have no first, second. We don't have no sixth, seventh, eighth, and 10th book of Aaron. So there's that. Oh crap. Well, yeah, just gonna have to make this snappy. All right. Yeah. So there you go. These are great questions for the Hoodoo Bible study. By the way, if you are not in the Hoodoo Bible study group on Facebook, this is your invitation. All right. We'd love to have you. Yeah, no problem. All right. So I got some questions about, as I end here, I got some questions about Mercury retrograde. And this is also why I said before, good evening. You need to get an astrological diagnostic because Mercury retrograde does not affect everybody the same, depending upon where your natal Mercury is in your chart. So that's if you guys need a link to the Hoodoo Bible study. We accept new people in on Monday, so if you have submitted to be added, just wait till next Monday. We'll bring you in. We do it all at one time. New members Monday, and that's a great place to share and to be shared with. So ask about Mercury retrograde. So let's take a look at this, for example. Let's see what old Mercury is up to right now. The reason why some people experience Mercury retrograde in a very tangible, very dramatic way, and other people are, Mercury is retrograde? What? When? All right. It's very much so based upon where Mercury was when you were born. All right. And how he now relates to that place today or when he's retrograde. All right. So, for example, okay, if when you were born, okay, you were born with your Mercury in, I don't know, Sagittarius. Just throwing it off the top of my head. All right. But now, no, wait. Let me actually use an actual example. Okay. So let's say when you were born, Mercury was in Virgo. All right. Which is actually a very good place for him to be in because he rules Virgo. So he likes to be in Virgo. That's his night sign or his nocturnal sign. But now Mercury is currently in Pisces, which is opposite Virgo, which means that according to when Mercury was born, where Mercury was when you were born, versus where he is now, there's a 180-degree difference. In other words, they are literally opposing each other. All right, that's going to cause great issue with you today. All right, that's the kind of aspect he's making. He's making an opposition, no aspect to where he was when you were born. That's going to affect you differently. Now, your friend down the street, okay, they, they may have had Mercury in, they may be born with Mercury in Scorpio. All right, Mercury in Scorpio. Now, Mercury is currently in Pisces. So he's now making, all right, a 60-degree angle, excuse me, a 120-degree angle with where he was. We call that a trine. How does Mercury retrograde affect a person who has a master number 11? I haven't the slightest clue. I don't know anything about numerology. That is not my area. You would have to ask numerologists that. Now, if you told me how does he affect me based on my chart and sent me your information, then I probably answered that for you. But based upon I don't know what a master number is. I don't know if you got master numbers, if you got slave numbers. I don't know, how those things work at all. Yeah. So it's going to affect and it's going to change. Now, I mentioned this before on my Facebook and with my team, is that over the years of doing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of birth chart analysis and astrological diagnostic, I've noticed a couple of things. One is that people who are born under a Mercury retrograde, Mercury was retrograde when you were born. Pause. What the hell is a retrograde? Let's start there. What is a retrograde, Doc? What does that even mean? I've heard people talk about that. What does that mean? So, retrograde is one of the three possible motions of the astrological planets. All right. The other two motions are direct and stationary. Direct motion means that the planet is following its natural course, right? It's orbiting as it normally would. Okay. Stationary means that the planet in its motion has begun to slow down. It's not moving as fast as it was. All right. Almost to the point of looking like it has stopped. It's stationary. Okay. And then we have retrograde, which means that a planet has now begun to appear to move backwards. All right. Now, how does that relate energetically? Think of the time when you were going somewhere, so you're going to work, you left out the house, and you're about to get in the car and you realize, I'm forgetting something. How many of you ever had that feeling? Like you're going somewhere like I'm forgetting something, and I don't know what it is. And it's very irksome. It's almost annoying. And you may even go back in the house, so just looking around. Like, what am I checking? Okay, I got my, got my cell phone, got my keys, got my wallet, got my purse, got my ID, got my whatever, got my money, whatever the case may be. I'm missing something. All right? And it almost puts you in this state of distress because you're like, I don't know what I'm missing, but I've forgotten something. So what do you begin to do? You begin to backtrack, right? Not necessarily knowing what you're looking for, but you're backtracking. That is essentially how planets feel in retrograde. I'm missing something. I've lost something. I need to go back and redo something. I don't know what that something is, but I'm in that state of distress. All right? It is retrograde. It's going backwards. It's reviewing. It's reanalyzing. It's walking backwards. It is searching, excavating. What's missing? What's lost? What did I overlook? What don't I have? What did I forget? What did I misplace? Etc. So that's how retrograde shows up on a planetary level. Now, the reason why Mercury retrograde is such a big to-do, particularly here in the West, is because Mercury rules or governs the areas that Western society most heavily depends upon, chiefly travel and transportation, commerce, communication, and technology. Those are like the four pillars of the Western society. So when he's in a state of distress, derision, befuddlement, all of those things they fall into chaos. Now, I have found that people who are born under a Mercury retrograde are often labeled or mislabeled as having some kind of learning disability. Now, mark my words. I didn't say they did. I said they're labeled that way, right? Maybe by a teacher, by a parent, by some authority figure, a doctor, or what have you. All right? Whether that may be ADD, ADHD, forms of autism, Asperger's, the gamut runs, okay? But I've noticed over the years, a common thread for people who are born under a Mercury retrograde. And these are some of the most intelligent, some of the most creative, some of the most innovative and genius people. All right? But they're characterized as disabled or something wrong with them because they're born into a society that only values intelligence in a traditional sense. But there are multiple forms and multiple expressions of intelligence. All right? It just simply means having Mercury in retrograde simply means that I process information differently than the mainstream. That's all that means. And unfortunately, we live in a culture, a society that demonizes anything different. Something must be wrong with you if you don't think what I think or think how I think or come to the same conclusions through thinking that I do. All right? You're the problem. You need to be isolated or medicated or marginalized or whatever the case may be. So, that's one way of putting it, yes. All right. So, yeah, just wanted to drop those nuggets. Drop those nuggets. Interesting. Saturn is in, no, Jupiter's in Sagittarius. What if I can make a talisman? If we put this is this. All right, well that's all I got for y'all today. Be sure to get your seat. We'll have 8 slots left for the wash webinar. The link is in the chat box and also will be in the description below for you guys to sign up. It is $50. It will be on the 29th of March, 2019 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a 2-hour webinar. We will have our guest, Dr. Christos Keone, of drkeone.com, who is my mentor and my bishop and a very close friend of mine. So definitely make your plans to be in attendance. In the meantime, in between time, I hold you all in the light of God that never fails. God bless you all forever.